Okay, ALD gang, welcome back to another video. So as you can see on the screen, I am going to be ranking the RTD Russell T Davies 2 era, and it'll be going from perfect to fantastic to amazing, good, meh, and bad. Let's hope nothing goes in there. So we're going to go episode by episode, including the 60th. And I'm doing this because it's nearly been a month since the reality war, so people have been able to get their opinions out. So yeah, without any further ado, let's jump straight into this. Make sure you like and subscribe if you want more videos like this. So, the Star Beast. Ooh, controversial. I liked most of it. I just didn't really like how they dealt with the Donna Noble part human, part Time Lord stuff, and how they used Rose Noble and the gender stuff, and implying that women know better when it really doesn't matter. And also, so it had quite left wing views, and it also didn't really feel like a celebration of the show as a whole. It just felt like a celebration of the return of David Tennant and Catherine Tate. So it's probably going to be a bit controversial, but it's going to go in good. I also didn't like how I loved the design of the 14th Doctor's Sonic, and I love his costume as well. And it's David Tennant, but I just don't like how it's like a magic wand. I just don't like how the Sonic is suddenly this magic wand that can do basically anything you ask for. It was a bit ludicrous. So then we move on to Wild Blue Yonder. Now, I think this was a step up because I've rewatched most of these episodes. I'm doing a rewatch. I'm currently on going on to Lux, so I'll be watching Lux. That's the time of recording, which is the 25th of June. This will be out, don't know how long after. So I would have finished it by then. But Wild Blue Yonder, it was good. It was good. I just think the thing holding it back severely was there was so much hype built around it. There's so much like, oh, mysterious characters. Who's the villain? It is Matt Smith coming back in this episode? Is Peter Capaldi? Is Jodie? No. That was a little bit of a letdown, and it did sort of take away from the episode, seeming as Russell T Davies was building it up to be, oh, this is the episode you don't want to miss. And we have got a theme of that through his second era. Other than that, it was better than the Star Beast, I would say. So I'd say that's amazing. Um, because I like the mystery. I liked the not things. It was a cool concept. And to be honest, it was like I said, it was a cool concept of what they did. I do just think it wasn't utilizing the Disney budget. I mean, it did. It's visually you can tell, but I mean, it was literally just for about 40 minutes of the episode. It was just 35, 40 minutes. It was just David Tennant and Catherine Tate walking around a spaceship and having basically an argument with themselves. But other than that, I think it was a good, really good episode. Then we move on to the giggle. Personally, oh, no, not there. It's amazing, but it's not fantastic. But I think I liked it more than Wild Blue Yonder. And also Wild Blue Yonder had the return of Wolf as well. But I personally like the giggle more. I didn't like the bi regeneration. I've never really been a fan of that. It just leaves too many plot holes. Like and we'll get onto this later in the video. Why didn't David Tennant just help out? I mean, he does still have his TARDIS, so he could be off world, but that's something we'll get to later. So yeah, I liked it. Neil Patrick Harris was really good. The first appearance with Ncuti Gatwa, he was really good in this episode, to be honest. There were some bits that just didn't really make sense to me, and like I said, the bar regeneration. But other than that, solid episode, really good episode. I think it is worthy. Again, it just didn't feel like a 60th. The 60th should have been for the 20th anniversary of the New Who era. That would have been better to release then. So you could have maybe had like a one big 60th special episode, like the 50th. And then here you could have had 3 episodes, maybe not as long, maybe the same, celebrating the 20 years of New Who since the revival in 2005. But with that, that leads us on to the church on Ruby Road. Now, it was good. It was a good first Christmas special back. Millie Gibson was phenomenal. Ncuti Gatwa was good. Their singing though, I've got to admit, Millie Gibson's singing and Ncuti Gatwa's was, to be honest, really good. It felt out of place, but it was really good. And to be honest, I think it was quite a strong start to Ncuti's era, which, as you can see, it is very short. So, yeah, not much to say. It was a good episode. It was a good Christmas special back. Good time travel, timey-wimey stuff. That leads us on to Space Babies. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Opening episode of season 1. Technically Ncuti's first episode, if you don't count the Christmas the specials, such as the Christmas special and his 10-15 minute appearance in the Giggle. Yeah, it just, specifically when I rewatched it, it just it was okay. It was just okay. Yeah. But that is why it was joined by The Devil's Cord. I like this episode. As much as you can slander Jinx Monsoon for being what he, she, it is, I'm just trying to not get into any of that stuff because obviously I support Trump, but deal with it. But yeah, good villain. I liked, personally, the musical bit at the end. There's always a twist, of course. Again, the singing was good. The choreography was good. It just didn't feel like Doctor Who. That's the issue. It felt out of place. For the episode, it didn't, but for the show as a whole, it did. Yeah, it just. Yeah. It was okay, but it could have been a lot better. Sorry about this. Oh, God damn it. Sorry about this. I'm just reorganizing. 1 second. Stand by. Right. It was just my mic is just fell off. So yeah, it was and having both of them as a 2-part it wasn't even a two-part episode. It was just both the episodes were released together. Um, but opening it with both of them, I think we should have opened with the Devil's Cord. If you had to open with one of them, if that was a choice, and I had to just, the only thing I could do is flip episodes around, not change the whole narrative as a whole. I would flip around the devil. I mean, ideally, yeah, I'd open it with the Devil's Cord because you already established gods and myths and stuff like that in the Church on Ruby Road. Um, so leading straight in with that to there, it would have made more sense. Space Babies just seemed like a really filler episode, and the first episode just should not be filler. But leaving it at that, that moves us on to Boom, Stephen Moffat's grand return since he left with Peter Capaldi in 2017. Ooh. Again, I think it was better than Church on Ruby Road. I'd say it was better than Star Beast, personally. Argue. Hang on. I'd say it's better than Star Beast. Yeah, I'm just also going to move that to there because I also really like the inclusion of the Tricksters theme tune in the Devil's Cord and stuff like that. Shame it didn't get any payoff. I bet that was going to be season 3. You can say that. The Tricksters now the Mephisto of Doctor Who. Bloody hell. Yeah, so boom. Good episode. Considering Shooty was standing on one spot for the whole episode, the tension building was good. Millie Gibson, Ruby Sunday had a lot to do. You had the introduction of Mundy Flynn, played by the wonderful Varada Sethu, who was also in Andor. Who later played Belinda Chandra. Yeah, solid episode. I'd still say personally I prefer those two over it. Argue. I really hope the comments go wild. But yeah, I personally prefer Boom over those. And yeah. Now that Boom leads us on to 73 yards. Now, on rewatch, I actually liked this episode more than I did. I felt like the middle bit where sort of like Ruby was sort of just living a life, sort of like the stuff with Roger at William. I felt that to be a bit slow. But it was a really good mysterious episode, and I loved that scene in the Welsh bar, cafe, whatever you want to call it, where they're talking about Mad Jack. I do kind of wish it didn't just play off as a joke, which it did. I do kind of wish they were actually serious about it. Because that would have just made the tension in the episode go from here, so like all the way up here. Yeah, again, I think it was better than the Star Beast. It was better than those. But I didn't like it as much as Boom, but I also loved how, again, Millie Gibson had her time to shine. But the issue is with this type of episode, a Doctor Light episode, you only have 8 episodes in one season. and that's why Shooty, we just didn't feel like we got enough of him. It feels like he was here 1 second, then he was gone the next. That is why that's an issue. And then you had obviously Millie Gibson, Ruby Sunday's um, episode later in season 2. We'll get onto that later. But yeah, I'm putting a lot of them in good because, to be honest, it's just good. It's not, yeah, it's not fantastic. It's not outstanding. It's not perfect. It's not perfect Doctor Who. But yeah, that leads us on to Dot and Bubble. Controversial again, and I know I keep putting stuff in good, but I really like this episode until the ending bit. What was her name? Main character, I can't remember her name. Put it in the comments if you want. Yeah, her. She was a good character, and I felt like she had a lot to do. But again, it was another basically Doctor Light episode. Shooty would have literally just recorded his scenes on a green screen, and he could have probably done that remotely. I mean, I get it; he was filming for Sex Education, but they maybe should have just filmed around it. It would have been really fun if Shooty was actually, if they were actually in fine time, and I don't know, maybe they got in somehow, but the TARDIS couldn't. So he had no TARDIS, maybe no Sonic, um, just himself. Moving on. Oh, and the ending scene. I really like the music. Murray Gold, perfect. Um, Absolute cinema. But that leads us on to Rogue. No, it's not meh. No, actually, no, yeah, that's fine there. Yeah, I just didn't really like it. Controversial, but I just felt like Rogue as a character. It was interesting. Jonathan Groff was all right, but I just feel like they did that because they probably couldn't use Captain Jack. They wanted to kind of rehash Captain Jack, and yeah, and the bird villain's just no, not entertaining really. I didn't really like it on both my watch and my rewatch. But then that leads us on to the legend of Ruby Sunday. Now, I really like this episode. I personally think it's better than all of them. I personally think it's the best episode currently in RTD2 because the tension building throughout was really good. The tension building of you don't know who this villain is. You don't know. You still had the mystery of Ruby's mother. You still had the mystery of who the main villain was. And I'm biased because obviously the Sutek reveal was done brilliantly. Um, and we obviously got a good amount of unit. Um, Again, Rose Noble didn't get much to do. She was just there. I feel like the problem with her character is not because she, whatever Yasmin Finney wants to go by. I feel like Rose Noble is just there. Rose Noble has nothing to do. Take her out the episode, it would be the exact same. The exact same. Rose Noble's kind of just there to remind you that, oh yeah, the Nobles are still around and 14th Doctor's still around somewhere plotting, plobbering about in his retirement. And also probably just to appeal to the trans community, which, why? I mean, I get why, but I mean, my point is, Rose Noble serves no purpose in the narrative. Like I say, take her out the narrative, take her out of the episode, and there's no difference basically. If you can tell me one thing in the comments that Yasmin Finney's Rose Noble does within Legend of Ruby Sunday and the Empire of Death, I can change my opinion. But she does, but that character does nothing, really. So yeah, yeah, okay, that's still connected, right? And like I said, I was biased because the Sutek reveal set up to be so good. I really wish though Sutek wasn't a big giant dog. I wish Sutek sort of was his classic look. And this is what we'll get onto with Omega later in the video. Obviously, I don't have much time because it's 7:30 at night recording this. I'm having dinner. But yeah, yeah, could have been better. But and I was confused who Sutek what because I knew what he looked like from the classic. They basically, yeah. But I'd say that's probably one of my favorite episodes of RTD2. Next up, Empire of Death. Again, it was amazing. Not as good as the yeah. Okay. Controversial that putting Boom under the Empire of Death and 73 yards as well. But yeah, hear me out. The opening, the first act is brilliant. It's basically a lead on from The Legend of Ruby Sunday. The later acts, though, it sort of drags. I mean, some scenes in the memory TARDIS. I loved all the callbacks in the memory TARDIS, but if we didn't get the memory TARDIS within Tales of the TARDIS, and then this was the surprise, that was a surprise for this episode, it would have been 10 times better. It would have been 10. And also, if it wasn't leaked as well. If it wasn't leaked, it would have been way better because none of us were even expecting the memory TARDIS in the Empire of Death. It was only because of that leak. That's why, yeah. So the later acts, slow, bit boring. The reveal of Ruby Sunday's mother to just be a normal woman, a bit dull. I get the messaging of anyone can be important, no matter who you are. You can be the most normalist of people. But yeah, just all that build up throughout since December 2023 all the way to like May 2024. Yeah, it just didn't really pay off. However, this leads us into Joy to the World. Oof. Mm, yeah. Actually, No, the stuff with no. Going there. The stuff with Anita is really good. I really like that montage where the Doctor is sort of just on Earth waiting. Annoying that he didn't go see any of his companions, because the amount of companions that are on Earth, you would have thought in a year he would have bumped into someone in London. And you know, London's a capital, but you would have thought he would have bumped into someone, whether that's Yaz, Graham, Ryan, Dan, any of the classics, any of the New Who, Ruby, anyone. But yeah, uh, I do think it's better than Rogue. The fact that Joy became the North Star for Jesus, that as a Christian, that annoyed me. As a Christian, that annoyed the hell out. Well, not the hell out of me, but it annoyed me a bit because it's a bit disrespectful, really. I know it's a fictional show, but yeah, and I get why RTD did it, and I also like the inclusion of the little Hobbit door. Again, missed opportunity to just go in there. You could have got someone for a cameo. It didn't have to be Martin Freeman. It didn't have to be Ian McKellen. It could have been someone like Sean Dean, I think, person who played Samwise and then Bob in Stranger Things. Um, yeah, or you could have got Frodo, Elijah Wood. You could have just, or just a random Hobbit, just a Hobbit. You just even got Hobbits walking around the Time Hotel. It would have been more funny, and it would have been a better. Or just imagine if you did get Ian McKellen with a Disney budget, use that Disney budget to get Ian McKellen as Gandalf walking through Time Hotel and a quick interaction with the Doctor. It wouldn't have to be canon to the Lord of the Rings universe. You could just say it was a bit of fun. Um, it was just a bit of a skit. It didn't have to be canon. Some people would consider it canon, but it wouldn't have to be. But it would have just been really cool to see the interaction between Gandalf and the Doctor. But anyway, that's just because I'm a Lord of the Rings fan and The Hobbit. But yeah, making her into the North Star. No, just no. Um, I liked the Time Hotel and I like the festiveness. Yeah, that's why it's there. Now we're moving on to the final stretch thing. Season 2. This video is long, I know, but season 2. Um, Robot Revolution. Now, compared to these, I'd say it's better. It would fit in just there. No. Yeah. I think there. So my reasoning for this is more for the point of it had potential and it was a really good, really strong introduction to Belinda Chandra. But the later episodes sort of just ruin it, and I'll get onto that when we get to stuff like Wish World. Mm. Um, yeah, it was a lot better than Space Babies, though. This is how you open a season, not Space Babies. uh, Robot Revolution. The issue season one fell into was they introduced Ruby in the church on Ruby Road, assuming that people would obviously watch that before season one. But not everyone watches the Christmas specials, you see. So kind of like just jumping straight into a mid episode, yeah. But this was actually good. Was the payoff okay? Yeah. Ending was all right. Um, yeah. I think yeah. Looks. I've rewatched this a few times. I think it should go there. I know a lot, literally all of them are in good, but like I said, they're all just good. They're not amazing. They're not fantastic. They're not perfect, but they're not meh. They're not bad. None of them are objectively bad, but none of them are objectively fantastic, or and even a select few are only amazing. But yeah, looks. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a fun episode. Alan Cumming was really good as Lux slash Mr. Ringading. Again, the payoff was okay. Rusty Davies kind of has this thing with the gods where it's like a flick of a button or something like that, and they're done for. Like you saw that with Sutek, literally grabbing him by a leash, dragging him through the vortex. You saw that with Jinx Monsoon's Maestro. Uh, few plays of the piano, few certain chords, boom, Maestro's gone. Um, the the what they're called, the goblins. Um, quick singing of music, using the glove, pulling the ship down. Boom, the goblin king's dead and they're gone. And we'll get on to the other ones later. But yeah, looks. It was a good episode throughout. It was slow, I admit. The beginning was really slow. It took a while to get into things, but when it got into things, it was really good. The meta bit, though, oh god, I just didn't like that. I thought that would play into the finale. I thought it was going to be a reality war between different realities, between our reality, our real world reality, as in what the Doctor went to, or um, or it was going to be something, and then against the Doctor's reality, and he had to fix it. That's what I thought the reality war would be. Not the mess we got. Um, and or you could have done something like you could have used that meta bit in this episode, and you could have built on. So like we're watching the Watchers who's watching Doctor Who. So Doctor Who's being watched by fans, who's being watched by fans, who's being what. So you could do it as in like in paranormal stuff. You've got a portal. So when you face two mirrors to each other, you create a portal. So like a never-ending mirror. It should have been something like that. That would have been, to be honest, in my opinion, that would have been quite cool and quite meta. And you could have actually had stuff leaking into real world. Um, because the marketing, again, Disney budget, the marketing could have gone crazy. You could have had like multiple TARDISes just appearing in different locations. You could have had multiple in multiple locations. You could have one in London, one in Cardiff, one in Bristol, one in other filming locations, Edinburgh, Glasgow. You could have had one on that hillside, the film in Wales, for 73 yards. But yeah, that's just, yeah, so that's good. The Well, otherwise known as Midnight 2.0. Hang on, hang up. Mm, yeah, again, it was just good. It was better when yeah. Well, I loved that it was the midnight entity, and I loved that it was midnight, and the reveal of that was brilliant. But I just feel like it was too different. Also, you didn't want to do the exact same. The thing that made midnight in RTD1 so good was it was small scale. It was just a select cast of not even that many people in one set for the whole episode. There wasn't no visual monster, there wasn't no visual villain. The villain was talking and tension building. This had it, the well had it, but I just feel like, and I know that it's so many years in the future, compared to where Midnight is set, but and I suppose it does add on to what David Tennant said at the end of Midnight. They should leave the planet alone, and humans never learn. So it does add on to that messaging, which is quite good. But it was just a bit naff, just a bit meh at the end of the day, weren't it? It um again, she was brilliant in it, but the main, I can't remember her name, but the disabled woman, she again, it was cool having her in it and the inclusivity, but that's all it was for. Wait, no, no, I tell a lie. No, ignore me on that. I just remembered. Um, no, they actually played a role into the episode. Actually, ignore that. So yeah, unlike Rose Noble, she actually played a role into the episode. Not just standing there doing fuck all. Given an iPad to battle Sutek, the god of death. Blimey. Uh, yeah, it was a good episode. Don't get me wrong. That's why it's in good. But it could have been a lot better, like all the other episodes. I just don't think we should have ever got a Midnight 2.0. The villains in this should have been rather Weeping Angels, Vashta Narada, or The Flood. It should have been one of those three. In the episode Midnight in any way, but because it's set so far in the future. But yeah, I just think comparing it to Midnight itself, it's just not good. It's okay at most. If I was comparing it to Midnight, Midnight would be an amazing. This would be in meh. Um, but yeah, Shooty was good. Verada was good, and but my issue again is Belinda getting less and less to do. You sort of saw that in Lux, but she still had stuff to do in that. She wasn't just there for the. It was kind of like, and we'll get onto this in a few minutes. This is a really long video. I know. I am sorry. But yeah, it was good. Lucky, lucky day. I am biased. I am really biased here. I quite like Lucky Day. Now this is controversial. This list having Empire of Death above stuff like The Well and basically the whole of season two. Um, yeah, yeah. Lucky day. Millie Gibson, absolute standout. It was brilliant to see her again after a whole year. Um, but again, I just kind of think it took away from the character building of Belinda. Millie had her time in the TARDIS in season one. And this is why I think Belinda shouldn't. Verada's really good, but Belinda should never have been a character. Ruby should have been the main companion for the whole of season two, or the Doctor should have been on his own, um, and having that sense of not grief, but the sense of like sadness that he's got no one to travel with. Um, or maybe the companion should have been Joy. I wouldn't like that, but because the acting from Joy weren't that great. But yeah, Lucky Day was really good, I think. Um, and yeah, Conrad, good character, not good guy. This is where I just don't like how most white males in Doctor Who, they rather have to be, if they remotely show anything a right wing ideology, they're classified as criminals and bad people. That's not how it is in the real world, Russell. Open your eyes. It's not how it is. Um, and yeah, I just don't see how a podcast guy can go from that to being a god, essentially, working alongside Time Lords and gods. And we'll get to that in a second. I don't think Conrad should have been one of the Trinity. But yeah, Lucky Day, Millie Gibson, really good. I'm biased because I did meet Millie Gibson, of course. She was really sweet. I'll hopefully meet her again at some point. Um, yeah, so I'm biased. Yeah, that was quick. This episode bored the hell out of me. Not hell, but it just bored me. And again, Belinda got less to do. So we had a strong introduction to Belinda. Then she still had a bit doing looks. Then she still had a bit to do, but not as much. Then we didn't have her for basically the whole episode. And then she's basically got nothing to do in this episode. The story and the engine. I liked how it delved into a different culture. That was quite fun, learning about different cultures. But yeah, not much to say on that. I'm just trying to flick through all these because I've got a bit to say about the two-part finale. Interstellar Song Contest. I liked it, and the reveal of the Rani was good. I just think again the leaks ruined it. I think it'll go there. Again, the leaks ruined basically the whole of season two. Let's get that out there. The leaks of season two ruined it. And I think most Whovians could agree. I got spoiled about the reveal of the Rani, which is quite annoying. Because I was just on TikTok like the day before, and I got spoiled. It was a leak, and I didn't believe it. But when it was found out Mrs. Flood was the Rani, it's kind of like, oh yeah, okay, so I guess that leak was real. But yeah, really good episode. Graham Norton was in it for some reason. Rylan was in it for some reason. Belinda got more to do in this, but this is kind of the last episode we see actual Belinda. The Belinda we knew from the Robot Revolution. This was the last episode we saw her in, because that leads us on to Wish World. I don't really like this episode much at all, really. It's gonna go there. I liked it more than these, but for a penultimate episode of possibly Doctor Who for in a while, Russell, what are you doing? Taking away the Doctor's memories. And why did the TARDIS doors blow up at the end of the Interstellar Song Contest? Never got an answer to that. Wishworld has so much potential. You had the Rani back. I think the Doctor shouldn't have lost his memories. The Doctor and Belinda should never have lost their memories. Play the episode basically how it was, but they still have their memories. They're just playing along. Have it like that. The inclusion of Rogue in it, I think, was quite good, but we're never going to get any payoff because Shooty's left. And who knows who knows how long Doctor Who is going to be on this hiatus it sort of is on for. We've got the war between the land and the sea in a few months probably, but yeah, Wish World could have been a lot better. I didn't like all the memory forgetting stuff. I didn't like how Conrad was essentially a god, and the disabled good cameo by Tharies. I didn't notice that till I watched that podcast. But the Confused Adipose podcast, shout out to that. But I just don't really understand what the point of the disabled revolution was. What was the point? There was no payoff. They were sort of there for that episode, and there was no payoff. I might just be missing something. Correct me in the comments if I'm missing something. But it just seemed a bit daft that you had, and it's sort of like it's just there for DEI, it's just there for inclusivity, it's just there because he wants to appeal to the left wing, which is fine, there's nothing wrong against that, just to the disabled people, which is fine, but you need something for them to do. Like Shirley Ann Bingham, she had nothing to do barely. She was quite cool in the 60th, but she didn't have much to do. And yeah, yeah, that okay. And then that brings us on to the reality war. It was better than Wish World. Oops, where did that go? There. It was better than Wish World, and I think it was better than that. So I'll just go there. The bit that carried it was the soundtrack. I loved hearing If There's Tears, There's Hope from season 10. Murray Gold's absolute brilliant with that. I loved hearing that again in the cinema. It was brilliant. I watched this on the day I saw Millie Gibson, so that heightened the emotion to it. And it heightened that you just don't want to lose the characters. So the characters are good. The actors play them quite well. It's the writing. Russell sort of let us down with it. It just was a bit. The standard runtime, that is what Omega was used in. And it can sort of be seen in the actual episode, like past the 45-50 minute mark, you can tell this is where the reshoots were early in 2025. This is where you can see where this is after Shooty made his decision to leave. This is after probably Disney pulled out of the Disney Doctor Who BBC deal. You can just see it's visually evident. And it's just sad that we're probably not going to see, because Millie Gibson stepped away from Doctor Who as far as we know. Virada Sethu stepped away from it. Um, uh, Obviously, Shooty Gatwa stepped away from it. But yeah, it also just didn't give Omega. Omega is such a good classic villain. Such a big classic villain. Such a big Time Lord. You had the Rani, Omega, and the Doctor, but no, you make Omega a big giant naked skull. You could have used that Disney budget for somewhere else. You could have just remade and redone, because the reason why people like the Trickster and even Maestro, even um I mean Davros, you might be able to play into the gist, but reason why villains who are humanoid are so terrifying is because they're humanoid. They're not some big CGI monster. It's because they are humanoid. It's because it's something that humans wouldn't expect in a day-to-day life. I mean, you wouldn't expect a big giant CGI monster, but you get sort of where I'm coming from. Like, a big giant CGI monster villain has been done so many times. It it's just overdone, and that's where it sort of pulls it down for me, because you had that extended runtime. So if Shooty wasn't leaving, the runtime would have been probably about 55 minutes, and the initial ending for it seems so good, like a party. And then Susan, why did you introduce Susan in the Interstellar Song Contest and nothing about her in Wish World or Reality War? Wait, no, there was a bit about her in Wish World, I think. Nothing in Reality War, no payoff. And to be honest, I don't even think we'll get any payoff. Why is Billy Piper back? That feels just a bit like a cash grab. And this is just something that annoys me. Shooty was done really dirty. He succeeded from a what you call it? He succeeded from David Tennant, and then he left into Billy Piper. We need someone unknown, someone, or if you really want, just grab audiences in. This is why I think Disney have pulled out, because otherwise they would have used some big name actor like she. But then again, I suppose with the issue of the big name actor is they're not reliable, I suppose. Um, but yeah, Reality War, it was okay. If you want a more in-depth evaluation of the ending of season 2 and Rusty Davies era as a whole, leave a like on this video. I know it is long. It is very long, this video. I really, really, really hope you enjoyed it, and I really hope you respect my opinions on this. So this is my overall ranking of RTD2. As you can see, it was overall just good. Put it on an average scale, it was just good. It wasn't amazing, it wasn't meh, it was just good. So, with that, I shall see you all within the next video. Peace. Don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Team D Gang YouTube channel.